our last lesson we learnt about how Britain took birth as a nation state. In fact, the purpose of these series of lessons on the rise of nationalism in Europe has been to understand how nationalism played a very crucial role in causing or engendering a transition throughout Europe in the 19th century. The erstwhile empires, monarchies were disintegrating, and it was this one spirit of nationalism that was helping or contributing in the formation of new independent nation states. But this idea of nationalism did not just exist only in the political sphere. Nationalism was not propagated only through ideas, only through words and speeches and discussions. The visual effect of certain symbols and images also played a very crucial role in this matter. Allow me to give you an example in this regard so that you can understand how impactful the visual effect always is. Suppose I am telling you the story of a certain thing. You continue to listen to my story. Chances are that halfway through the story you might lose your interest and you might simply lose track of what I am saying. On the other hand, if that same story is shown to you through a visual medium, then you'll be more attracted to the same. You'll be more interested to watch the story unfold. So instead of just listening, you will be more drawn to the story, or you will be more curious to know more about the story through the visual medium. So this is the impact of any visual medium. And likewise, in the wake of the revolutions in Europe through the 19th century, the revolutionaries, the common masses knew how useful various kinds of images, symbols, iconographies could be in propagating as well as spreading the revolutionary ideas. Well, this will be the course of our discussion in this lesson. Artists of the 18th and 19th centuries used female figures as an allegory of the nation. Now, why do you think word female figures used? Now, these female figures were not any real life women. These female figures were abstract female figures which were infused with strength, courage, moral rectitude, power. And these female figures became the allegory of the new nation states. An allegory is a rhetorical device that is used to refer to any human personification of an abstract idea. So the abstract idea of the nation, of the spirit of nationalism, was embodied in these female figures. So let us take a look at some of these female figures and how important those were in conveying certain messages. Now, this entire idea of using female figures as an allegory or as an embodiment of the nation was borrowed from the French Revolution. Now, if you learn your courses on the French Revolution, you will know that many symbols and images were used by the revolutionaries. These were used by the middle class members in order to spread the messages of the French Revolution among the illiterate and uneducated masses. Now, the French Revolution was inspired by the ideas of the Enlightenment thinkers, and the common masses who were mostly illiterate did not have access to these ideas which were restricted within the books. And in those cases, symbols and images came to the rescue of the revolutionaries, because through these symbols and images, many messages of the French Revolution were conveyed. Here we have some of those symbols. First, we begin with this one symbol of a woman, and this was an allegory of the First French Republic. It was drawn by the French painter Antoine Jean Gros. Here you can see how a woman is standing tall. She is a personification of this idea of French Revolution and the consequent changes in the French society. She is brave enough, and if you look at the coloring of her clothes closely, you'll be able to see that she is robed in the colors blue, white and red. Well, these three were the symbols of the French Revolution, and in fact these three colors stood for the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity. On the other hand, we have another symbol of broken chains. Well, these broken chains stood for the freedom from oppression, because the members of the third estate, the poorer lot in the French society, were exploited by the members of the first and the second estates as well as by the monarchy. And these people, in an expression of freedom, in an expression of breaking free, used this symbol of broken chains. Here we have another symbol, which is that of the red Phrygian cap. Now this red Phrygian cap also stood for the idea of liberty. And last but not the least, we have a blindfolded woman carrying a weighing scale. This symbol stands for the idea of equality before law, because this woman is blindfolded and she is holding scales, and if you notice closely, you will be able to see that these scales are equal. That is to say, this woman or law will hold all citizens equally. So these were some of the symbols and images which were spread during the French Revolution, and the legacy of the French Revolution was palpable in the subsequent revolutions in Europe as well. And this entire idea of using symbols and images as well as female figures as an allegory of the nation was borrowed from the French Revolution itself. Over the years, this one female figure who stood for the French Revolution was christened as Marianne. Now Marianne has been the national personification of France, and Marianne has been given different representations, different forms by various painters, by various artists. But one thing that has unified all these presentations of Marianne is that Marianne stood for the ideas of liberty, equality and fraternity. She also embodied the idea of freedom of democracy against all forms of oppression. Now, Marianne has been shown as wearing the red Phrygian cap and carrying the blue, white and red flag of the French Revolution. Here we have a painting by the French painter Eugene Delacroix, and this painting is called Liberty Leading the People. It was painted in the year 1830 in order to celebrate the July Revolution of 1830. Now this painting could be found in the Louvre Museum in Paris. Now if you look at this image closely, you will be able to see that this woman is wearing the red Phrygian cap. She is also holding the red, white and blue flag of France. Now this woman herself is an embodiment of the idea of liberty, and she is leading the people. So this is one of the many representations of Marianne, which was the national personification of France following the French Revolution. Now the symbol of this powerful female figure called Marianne has been important in French politics and the French government ever since. Statues of Marianne were erected in public squares, and her images were also marked on stamps and coins. So can you understand how important this image of Marianne was? And Marianne in turn stood for the nation as a whole. Now these symbols, these images, these figures were very important in holding together the people, in uniting the people, because a nation is an abstract entity. Now if I ask you about your understanding of a nation, you will try to look for images, for symbols, for concrete ideas of the nation. So it was this one image or one figure of Marianne that the people of France identified with. What we have here are images of Marianne as they have been portrayed in the form of statues as well as postal stamps and coins. Here is a statue of Marion which could be found at the French Assembly Nationale. This is a huge statue, and if you look at this image closely, you will be able to see that she is carrying some of the symbols of the French Revolution. She stood tall at the face of oppression from the monarchy. Then we have another image of Marion on a stamp. Now this is a French stamp from 1830. This also has an image of Marion. Now here we have images of coins that were minted from 1962 to 2001, and the image of Marion was stamped on the coin, and on the reverse side of these coins was stamped liberty, equality and fraternity. So from this we can understand how important these visual symbols and images of the various revolutions became over the years. Now, having talked about Marion, which was the personification of France, let us now travel to Germany. In Germany, likewise, Germania was the personification of the German nation. Now, here also we can see that a female figure was used by the nation in order to personify its national ideal. Now these female figures, these various symbols and images were often manipulated by the subsequent nationalists to suit their own imperatives. But before discussing that, let us look at what Germania stands for. She is a robust, tall woman, and on her head we find a crown of oak leaves. Now oak leaves in German symbolism stands for heroism and courage, and her heroism and courage are also emphasized by the sword that she holds, and on her chest she has a traditional armor, and here on this armor we can find the black eagle on a golden plate. Now this black eagle was a symbol of strength and power, and here she is also holding the red, black and yellow flag of Germany. Now this is a painting of Germania which was painted by Philip Waite in 1848. Now Philip Waite had made this painting on a huge piece of cloth, and it was to be hung at the Frankfurt Parliament in 1848. Now we mentioned this point that these images, these figures, these nationalist symbols were often manipulated by different leaders. When Hitler was ruling Germany, Germania stood for the idea of aggressive nationalism. But this is not what Germania stood for in the 1840s or 1850s. During this time, Germania stood for the spirit of Germany, the spirit which would unite Germany. So this is how these images, these symbols have survived in the pages of history. Before proceeding with this lesson, let me ask you a question. What is the female personification of the German nation known as? Is it known as Germania, Britannia, Marion or Liberty? Well, the correct answer is Germania. The female personification of Germany is known as Germania. Here we will be looking at some of the symbols that Germania holds very closely. We can see broken chains here. Broken chains stand for being freed. So the German masses were now in the process of being free from any kind of domination, from political instability, because Germania was the embodiment of the strength of this nation. Then we have the breastplate with eagle. Now this golden breastplate with black eagle is a symbol of the German Empire's strength. Then there is the crown of oak that stands for heroism. So oak leaves are used as a symbol for heroism in Germany. and Germania wears a crown of oak leaves. Then we have the sword. This sword shows Germany's readiness to fight. So Germany is not unprepared to fight. Germany will not flinch at the face of war. Germany is ever prepared to defend its territory, to defend itself from any kind of dominion. After that, we also have the olive branch around the sword. Here we can see this olive branch around the sword. Now this olive branch around the sword stands for the willingness to make peace. So it does not mean that Germany will only go to war. Germany will go to war only when it comes to its own defense. At other times, Germany is willing to make peace. After that, we also have the rays of the rising sun, as we can see in the background of this image, and these rays stand for the beginning of a new era. So it was, a new era was coming to Germany following its unification, and so these were some of the symbols that Germania is shown holding. Last but not the least, we have the black, red and gold tricolor. It was the flag of the liberal nationalists in 1848 who were looking forward to the German unification. But this flag was later on banned by the dukes of the German states. So here we saw a very good example of how different kinds of symbols were used to convey different kinds of messages. Opposed to the image of Germania we saw a while ago, here we have the fallen Germania as she was painted by the German painter Julius Hubner in 1850. But why do you think is Germania shown in a prostrate condition like this, and her crown is also lying on the dust? It is as if she has given up all hopes. This is because this painting was made when Germany was rife with revolutions for the German unification. At this point of time, King Wilhelm IV had refused all the proposals for German unification, and so the country Germany is shown as in a state of despair, in a state of angst. She has lost her hopes because she is not being united and she is not getting a national identity. So in this way, images were not just spreading certain ideas, but images also spoke to the masses in ways more than one. Here we see another image of Germania. It was painted by the painter Lorenz Classen in 1860. Here we can see Germania is guarding the Rhine, and this sword here that she is holding has something written on it. It reads, "The German sword protects the Rhine." So this is another powerful image, another powerful idea of the German nation which is being shown or represented through this painting of Germania. With this, we come to an end of our discussion on how various symbols and images were used to visualize the nation. Because a nation does not exist as a concrete, as a coherent entity. And so these various kinds of images and illustrations were made so that the idea of the nation could be made more accessible to the masses. In this lesson, we looked at certain images of the French Revolution and how Marianne became the personification of France and Germania became the personification of Germany. Now, women were vested with the power, the strength, the courage that the nation stood for. And so the entire national spirit was given in the body of these women. Now, various nationalist leaders, various politicians used and manipulated these symbols in order to suit their imperatives. Some portrayed these figures with strength and power and courage, while others portrayed these figures lying in dust. So it was all about the requirement, the message which was to be conveyed through these visual symbols and images. Having learnt about how the nation could be visualized and symbolized through images, through illustrations, in our subsequent lesson, we will be focusing on how this entire idea of nationalism was not uniform throughout Europe and in different continents. We will be looking at how this spirit of nationalism or this concept of nationalism meant very different things in separate contexts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon. You can also register for free at DeltaStep.com or download the DeltaStep app to learn one-to-one with our amazing teachers or to get access to all our 5,000 plus amazing videos as per your school syllabus. Master each topic with our adaptive practice technology. Get million plus questions with step-by-step solutions and unlimited mock tests. Get all your doubts resolved instantly. Learn via games and win amazing prizes like PlayStations and iPads. So at DeltaStep, learning is not just fun and easy, it's rewarding too. So register for free now.